Hi everyone, so welcome back to the Selective Preparation Power Mathematical Reasoning program, and today we're just going to be going through 10 or so questions from test 52 that we thought were a little bit harder, and so yeah, let's get started. Question 1, so angles and fractions, right? So it says here, the diagram below shows a circle. The circle is divided in 5 equal parts. The angles between the parts are all the same size. How much smaller would the angle for each part be if the circle was divided into 8 equal parts? Okay, so what we need to realize here is that each circle, okay, has a total angle of 360 degrees, right? And that's just the rule, that's just something that happens, right? Okay, now, what we do is that we see that these, each individual part is 5 parts, right? So we can divide this by, obviously we divide this by 5, okay? And so that just gives us 72 degrees, okay? Now it says, what happens if we divide our circle into 8 parts, right? So we did the same thing. We do 360 degrees divided by 8, and that will give us 45 degrees. Then we just take the 72 minus the 45, and that will give us 27 degrees. And so that means the final distance is 27 degrees, okay? So the answer to that question is A. Now, next 2 questions are kind of combined. They're both using the same graph as the data that's needed, okay? So this involves interpreting the data and obviously doing some fractions or percentages, right? Okay, so let's see what it says. So the bar graph shows money collected by 6 people for charity, right? So the first question is, what fraction of the total amount did Stella actually collect? Okay, so what we need to do is we have to find out the total amount, right? So luckily they've already labeled out all the numbers, right? So we have $1,000, $400, $500, $800, $300, and $600, right? So what we need to do is we need to do the addition, right? So we do 600 plus 300 plus 800 plus 500 plus 400 plus 1,000, and that will give us 3,600, right? Then we realize that Stella has actually collected $400, right? And so that means we just do this, 400 divided by 3,600, which would give us 1/9. And so that means the final answer is going to be 1/9, right? Because that's the fraction of the amount, of the total amount that Stella collected, okay? Now, in the next question, it says, what percentage of the total did Ariana and Tyrone contribute to the charity? Okay, so what we can do is we see that Ariana, okay, here, Ariana collected $600, right? And Tyrone collected $1,000, right? Okay, so that means in total, okay, it says here, in total, they've collected $1,600, right? Okay, that's because we just do 600 plus 1,000 for how much they've collected in total. Then with the previous question, we calculated that the total was 3,600, okay? So that means we just have to do 1,600 divided by 3,600 gives us 4/9, okay? And so 4/9 is just going to be 0.44 repeating, okay? And we times that by 100 to give us approximately 44%, okay? And so the answer to this question is B. All right, so question 4 is to deal with a lot of areas, right? So right off the bat, what we can do, we can just basically label this angle here, this little side here as 3 meters, and this thing here as 3 meters as well, okay? So in total, it's actually going to be, it's actually 6 meters, right, for the base of that little triangle, okay? And what else we can also do, we can realize that this is also 3 meters, okay? And so the distance from here to here is actually going to be 20 meters instead, okay? And so what we can do is first we want to find the area of the rectangle. So area of rectangle is just going to be, obviously, you do base times length, right? And so you just get 23 times 6, that gives us 138 meters squared, all right? And we do the area of the semicircle. So we can just do an approximation for pi. So just do pi, which is just going to be 3.14 in this case, times by, obviously, 3 squared because pi r squared, and we have to divide this by 2 because it's a semicircle, so it's actually just half a circle. This top bit here is for a full circle, right? And so that is approximately 14 meters squared. So we just write nearest. Okay, and then we do the final bit, the area of triangle. Okay, so the area of the triangle, we have that already, so we just do 20 times by 6 over 2, and so that will give us 60 meters squared. And so what we can do, we just do 138 minus 14 minus 60. Okay, and that will give us 64 meters squared as the unshaded, as the shaded area. Okay, so here shaded area is that. Okay, and so the answer to this question is 64 meters squared. All right, so question 5, percentages and problem solving. So Ben has red, orange, yellow, and green marbles in the bag. There are a total of 20 marbles in the bag. Green marbles take up 40% of the marbles in the bag, and there are the same number of red marbles as yellow and orange marbles combined. Okay, so and there's the same number of yellow and orange marbles. So how many orange marbles are there in the bag? Okay, so we know that there are 20 marbles in the bag, right? So that means green marbles. Okay, so we write green. Green just takes up 40%, right? So we just do 40% times 20, and that will give us 8. Okay, and so that means the amount of marbles, red plus yellow plus orange, right, is just going to be 12, okay? And since we know that yellow and orange marbles must have the same number of marbles, and red is equal to yellow and orange marbles, that means we know that red has to have 6 marbles, right? And yellow is 3, and orange is also equal to 3 marbles, okay? And so that means the answer to how many orange marbles are there in the bag is just going to be 3, okay? All right, next question, question 6. So which of the following turns will rotate you 135 degrees? Okay, so what we need to realize is each of these turns here is going to be 45 degrees, right? So for example, if I was rotating from east to northeast, that'll be a 45 degree rotation, right? So what we can see here, this one, you just have to guess and check, right? So let's say we guessed east, E, right? So north to southeast. So if we go from north to southeast, so we go from here, 1 rotation, 2 rotation, 3 rotations, right? So this is 45, 45, and 45 degrees, right? So we just do 45 times 3, okay? That will actually give us 135 degrees rotation, right? Now, we also have to remember where it is talking about. It's talking about clockwise, right? So obviously, we want to be counting it this way, okay? And that's exactly what we've done, right? We've counted the clockwise rotation of 135 degrees, okay? And so the answer to this question is E, right? And so the other one, so for example, A, these are anti-clockwise rotations. So from north all the way to east, if I was rotating the other way, okay, that is actually going to be 270 degrees, okay? So that's why A isn't the correct answer, and similarly for the other ones as well, okay? So, right, let's move on. Question 7. So measurements and percentages or fractions, right? So a grocer had 4.8 kilos of rice in stock. He sold 3/8 of it on Saturday and then 30% of the remainder on Sunday. So how much rice did the grocer have left? Okay, so let's see. He sold 3/8 of it on Saturday, right? So we know that what we can do, we can just do 4.8, right, divided by 8, and then we can times that by 3, and so that means he sold 1.8, okay, sold on Saturday, okay. Then what we can do, that means we have 3 kilos left on Sunday, right? Because we do 4.8 minus 1.8, right? Okay. And so what we can do, we just do 0.3 times by 3 kilos. That gives us 0.9 kilos, right? Okay, and so that means there is a 3 minus 0.1, which gives us 2.1 kilos left. Okay, and so the answer to this question will be B. So, question 8, interpreting data and money, right? So, the table shows the fortnightly repayment required to repay a loan. So, if Mrs. Brown wants to borrow $20,000, but can't decide if she wants to take a 1 year or a 2 year loan, what is the difference in interest between those loans? Okay, so let's see here, right? That's the amount of fortnightly repayment, and that's the amount borrowed, right? So, we look at this $20,000 section, okay, and so for the 1 year we see that it's $845, and 2 years it is $550 per fortnight, right? So what we do, we just do 550, okay, multiply that by 52, and we take away 845 multiplied by 26, right? And that will give us 28,600 minus 21,970, right? And so that equals to $6,630. Okay, so that means the 2 year repayment plan will cost $6,630 more dollars, right? And that'll be the difference in the interest. Okay, and so the answer to that is going to be E. All right. Now, question 9. So Roy buys petrol at $1.19.5 cents per liter. He fills his car up with 56.4 liters. If he does this fortnightly, which of the following expressions will show how much he is going to spend in 2 years on petrol in dollars, right? So right now we want to know how much it costs in dollars, right? It costs $1.195 dollars per liter, okay? Now, he does this every fortnight, okay? So we can just do $1, right, times 26, right? Because that's how much it is in fortnights, right? Times by 56.4 liters, right? Because that's how much he puts into his car every fortnight, okay? And now we want to do this for 2 years, okay? So how many, this for 26 fortnights in a year, okay? So times this by 2, okay? And so this is what you get, okay? And the answer here out of all those options that looks the most like this is going to be D. It's just going to be 2 years times the 26 fortnights times the dollars, the amount it costs per liter, times by how many liter Roy is getting every single time he goes, okay? And so the answer to this question will be D. And so question 10, so time. So Susan left home at 10 a.m. She spent 14 minutes walking to Laura's house. When she arrived, her watch switched to low power mode and started moving half as fast without her noticing. Okay, so Susan was getting ready to leave at 12 p.m. when she notices her watch is behind. What time did the watch show? Okay, so what we need to do is we need to know that when the watch stopped working properly, right? So the watch stopped working properly 14 minutes after 10 a.m., right? So that'll be 10:14 that the watch stopped working properly. Okay, and so she was leaving at 12. So in between this, right, we actually had 1 hour and 46 minutes in between, right? And that's just 106 minutes, right? Between 10:14 a.m. and 12 p.m., right? Okay. And so since we know that the watch was only moving at half the normal time, so half at the speed of a normal watch will be moving, that means the watch, okay, moved 53 minutes, right? Because that's a half of 106 minutes. Okay, so that means at the end of the day, the watch will show 10, 14 plus 53 minutes. Okay, and that will just be 11:07 a.m. Okay, and so the correct watch face on here will be A. Okay, because that's the one with the hour hand pointed at the very beginning of 11. Okay, and the minute hand pointed at 07, right, which is the time we found right here. Okay, and so the answer to this question will be A. So yeah, that's it for this unit, and that's it for test 52. Just some key points to take away. Obviously we want to make sure that we have a very nice list of those information that has been provided in the question. So you saw me, what I was doing is I did a lot of underlining throughout this, working through the questions, right? And that just lets you basically make kind of like a mental note of what information you've used and what you haven't used, or what information that are very important, makes it really pop out from that question. And that's really useful, especially in a very high pressure test like the selective test. Okay, and so yeah, I think that's it from me today, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Okay, thank you so much for watching.